Hi, I'm Roger Mays, and welcome to our Midsummer Night's Dream edition of Behind the Scenes here at Chadron State College. We've got lots of interviews inside with our students, some of whom are playing Shakespeare for the very first time in their life. You'll hear what they have to say about their characters. You'll also hear them talk about what it's like to be a student here at Chadron State College. So once again, welcome to our Midsummer Night's Dream edition of CSC's Behind the Scenes.
My name is Colton Neidhardt, and I will be playing the role of Bottom. Bottom is a unique role for me as far as some of the other things that I've played. He's not quite so bombastic and domineering. He's not a villain. He's pure comedic relief. He's the clown of the show. And so that's been a different experience for me. It's been a lot of fun. The last show I was in was Once Upon a Mattress, and I played Circumference. So this is in a similar vein in terms of comedy opposed to drama, but really it's a much different character. Just being able to play the comedy truthfully and accurately, being able to get in quick tactical changes and move from one thing on to the next, it's been different. It's not about slow and sustained, it's about quick changes. What makes Shakespeare special, to me at least, is the fact that a lot of these words didn't even exist. They weren't even in the English language before Shakespeare put them down on paper. So that's something that's pretty special, and there's a lot of great words in there to kind of relish, and every once in a while the play itself kind of speaks to you and leads you by the wrist and tells you where to go. So it's actually helpful. It's not as intimidating as everybody would make it out to be. That was something that was fairly difficult to get used to, because just looking at it on the page, the way it's written, it's so much different. So it leads you to believe that it's a lot more to memorize than what it actually is. But he does us a lot of favors by giving us rhyming couplets and different things to work with. So before too long, it really comes off the tongue pretty easily. I think the show is going to be fantastic. It's a very inclusive show. Basically, everybody in the department is doing something for it, whether it be technical or on stage. And so that's pretty exciting for us to get to work all together as kind of an ensemble. And in general, CSC's been great to me. I've had roles and opportunities to do things that I wouldn't have had in other places that might carry more tout or prestige with them, but I never once regretted my decision to come to Chadron State.
My name is Bryan, and I'm playing the part of Peter Quince. He is the leader of the players that perform for the Duke, but the star is Bottom. There's a difference. I'm the leader, but I'm not the star. I think of Peter Quince as kind of a goofy, I don't want to say buffoon, but like kind of a clown, one of the clown characters. Mainly, Peter Quince looks up to Bottom, who is the star. and usually, as Peter Quince, if Bottom wants the limelight, I'll let Bottom have the limelight. But sometimes he's got to get out of the way so I can finish talking to everybody. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I've approached Peter Quince. Colt's pretty fun to work with. He's fun. Like everyone's different, and I think Colt plays Bottom really well. Bottom was a part that I was trying out for as well, but I think that Colt brings a different side to it than I would have, and I think it's interesting. Well, Shakespeare, period, is challenging. Prose is easier to understand, but it's more of like everyday speech in Shakespeare's terms. It's not really everyday speech, but it's not lyrical. It's not verse. I've done Shakespeare for 7 years in high school. I did it once a year. We worked on it for about a month. We worked on our scenes or our monologue, depending on what we were doing. Then that was the extent of the Shakespeare experience that I've had. I was never in a show, but we would do the Shakespeare Festival on 16th Street in Denver every year. Every year we'd truck down to Shakespeare Festival and spend the whole day watching scenes and monologues and strolling down the streets, and it's pretty fun. It keeps you interested in Shakespeare because it's not too much, but you're doing it every year, and I think it's a good program that we had in high school. Shakespeare is it's totally different than the way you would speak in everyday language. The way he structures everything, it's so brilliant. When you say the lines right, they just flow out of your mouth, and it feels so just poetic and so I don't know the word I want to say, but you feel elevated. That's the word I want to say. And that's kind of what is the quintessential difference between Shakespeare and everyday speech and everyday acting, for that matter. The theater program here at CSC is awesome because we get to do a variety of things like Shakespeare or domestic comedies or domestic dramas or the classic comedies. Or, we get a nice variety of plays to work on, and so that I think is good for an actor because they need that experience, that variety, and it's good for an overall education in theater. So I think that's good about CSC.
My name is Brad Buckles. I'll be playing Demetrius. He's kind of a jerk at the beginning. There's a girl that really loves me, but I don't love her the way that she loves me, so I'm telling her to get away from me, leave me alone, don't talk to me. And then I'm kind of a square too, like everybody else gets to be cool hippies and I'm just a jock, frat boy kind of guy. What I've found that I've had to do, like with the character Demetrius, is really look more into the language of it all and like figuring out what he's saying, what the intentions are, what my motives are. Really, I guess I just put myself in the own situation. I guess would probably be the best way to say how I'd go about it. At first, memorizing Shakespeare was really the hard part, but that's pretty far gone now. I mean, it's actually easier than some of the other stuff we've been doing recently. Another challenge is that I've never been on stage with so many people at once, so trying to remember my cue lines is really hard. The phrasing, everything is, every phrase or verse, I don't know what you'd call it, is it's all 10 syllables, so everything has a nice flow to it, a nice rhythm to it, but if you get off, it'll screw everything up. I don't know, a lot of people are scared of it, I think, is what makes it special, is that it's a little intimidating at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. It's no different than anything else. Theater at CSC is a pretty good time. I mean, it's a pretty small crew, so you get to know your peers and your teachers pretty well. To come see the show, just a lot of people are scared, like I said, like, oh, I'm not gonna know what they're saying and stuff, but I'd have to say a lot of upperclassmen are in it, so we all know what we're doing. I think we can all really express and get it across what we're saying. Even if you don't understand the words, I think you can still understand our motivations, and I think hopefully a lot of people can pick up on that.